Now, on top of the James Gunn announcements about all the upcoming movies, which we are going to get to all that in just a second here, there were a couple of other interesting things that were said in this report and in this video that Gunn put out and that was released in all the major trades. And one of the things is this. We've been talking a little bit lately about, hey, remember the Batman? Yeah, that was a pretty good movie. That made you a pretty good amount of money. Where the hell is it? Like, why are we talking about Matt Reeves doing what was Buster Douglas? Buster Keaton. I keep wanting to say Mike Tyson's old opponent. I don't know why I keep saying Buster Douglas. Buster Keaton. Maybe it's the only other Buster I've ever heard of is Buster Douglas. But why is Matt Reeves talking about that when he said he doesn't even have a finished script for the Batman yet? What's going on? Focus, Matthew. Focus. Well, apparently, one of the things that James Gunn and Peter Safran did let out was the fact that The Batman 2 actually now has an official release date. The Batman 2 is going to be released on October 3rd, 2025. So we're talking about 2.5 years from now, which is not a completely unreasonable amount of time. I mean, I would have liked it to have been a bit shorter, but 2.5 years from now, the next Batman movie comes out, which tells me that Matt Reeves has to be close to the completion of this thing. Because one of the things James Gunn said is, we're not going to be setting release dates until we have finished scripts. Well, then Matt Reeves' script better be close to ready because they now have a release date for this. Look, The Batman was a movie, and we talked about this a lot, that had a lot of uphill battles it had to fight, right? Number one, it was coming across some unpopular feelings about the state of Batman, right? I mean, there was just that. Number two, it had to fight a basic state of confusion. That's maybe some people would be confused. Well, wait a minute. I thought Ben Affleck was Batman. Wait, is this the Batman that just helped Superman save the world? Is this a different Bat? So there was a little bit of that. Number three, y'all know what I'm going to say. Twilight, boy. They had to get over this stigma that some people who haven't watched a single thing that Robert Pattinson has done in the last decade, because he's turned in some incredible work where all the major directors want to work with him, like Christopher Nolan and things like that, were lining up to work with him. But still, that was another uphill fight it had to contend with. On top of that, for box office success, it was clearly from the marketing, it was a darker and heavier thing, not something you necessarily take Junior to go see. And yet, in spite of all that, for its first outing, the movie cleared $700 million, became absolutely beloved by most people who saw it. Not everybody, all films subjective, but by most people who saw it. We got this incredible Colin Farrell Penguin series coming, which I am very excited about. And now we've got a release date. Rob, how significant do you think it is it on this? Because I think, you know, there was a possibility and a risk here that in announcing all of my new films, they could have overlooked the Joker movie. They could have just swept that under the rug, which, by the way, also has its release date. They could have overlooked the Batman. That's not really my administration's movie. They could have swept that away, but instead they made sure they paid some attention to this and give it to it. What do you think?
Happens all the time in Hollywood.
Yes, it does.
You know, they could have got, but I think they did. Again, I thought this announcement 100% down the line was incredibly smart for a number of reasons, which we'll get into.
Well, let's stick to the Batman stuff, though.
But this in particular, to announce an official Elseworlds label. We've talked about it. We've said many times that was a way to go. They have said both of these movies are branded under the DC Elseworlds label. They'll probably have their own, kind of like how Fox Searchlight had the Fox logo, but it said Fox Searchlight. They'll have a derivation of the DC logo. It'll say DC Elseworlds. I mean, and that's, again, that branding they're taking from the comics, that'll be a buzzword that people will, that's a fun thing. Ooh, it's a DC. Are they going to make another DC Elseworlds movie? And they've also, I guess I won't say it in this portion, they confirmed another project that has been in development for a long time with another filmmaker named J.J. Abrams that could also be a Elseworlds movie. So we've got Joker and Batman, which makes sense, and another film they say is still in active development, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later, that is also clearly an Elseworlds movie, which I think is really good because that allows them to make anything. If a filmmaker comes in and they said, look, we've got a great script, if a filmmaker comes in, if James Cameron comes in and goes, yeah, you know, I always wanted to make an Etrigan movie. You know, Chris wants an Etrigan movie. He wants to make an Etrigan the Demon movie. That could be an Elseworlds movie, or it doesn't have to be, but it could be. And that's really cool that they have a brand. Like you could have filmmakers that can now go, I want to make a DC Elseworlds film of this character. I think it's great. and they've already got their 2 movies dated. So Elseworlds is a real thing with a slate.
Now, see, this is something I have been whining and crying about for a long time that I wish Marvel had the testicular fortitude to do for themselves by coming out and like codifying it and saying, hey, not only does DC now have, for the first time ever, have its own creation studio, we are creating division within its own label, DC Elseworlds. That's been my thing. Listen, I love shared cinematic universe, but you guys who've watched me for any period of time know that the issue and the problem with shared cinematic universe is the fact that a lot of creative stories have to be punted because, well, it doesn't fit in with what our current universe is. By specifically saying we have this label, you're exactly right, Rob. What they are telling is all creatives out there, hey, if you've got a great idea for a great story, like a 1-shot, 2-shot story, don't worry about the fact of whether it fits into our cinematic universe or not. Give us your pitch because we want to put out great movies. The Joker was fantastic. I can't wait for the second one. The Batman was fantastic. Can't wait for the second one. And this, you're so right. This opens so many of those doors.
And not only that, John, they've got 2 slated movies with release dates that are guaranteed moneymakers. There's no risk involved. I mean, unless, a musical Joker movie with Lady Gaga, maybe there's some risk. But I think that I want to see that. And they're coming off $1 billion gross. And with the Batman, a $750 million gross. That's a great way to start a label.
And not only does it encourage creatives to jump onto the DC train, it encourages movie viewers, people that are not, you guys are, I'm not going to be telling you anything you don't already know, but how many times have we heard people say, you know what, I don't know what's going on in Marvel. I didn't see this movie. I didn't see that movie. So it's just too much. I don't even want to go see it because I have
more people than you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people out there who just feel like it's too much and they're not going to know what's going on. So they just don't even want to try. They're like, I'll just go see something else. If you can say to your friend or to your partner or whatever, hey, we're going to go see an Elseworlds movie, and you don't have to have seen any of the other DC properties to know what's going on because it doesn't have to fit with, every other movie. You're not going to be lost. It's a standalone movie. That's something that really could be the thing that pulls someone in and makes them realize, oh, wow, I want to see more of these movies, and then could just broaden your audience. It's a really smart strategic move, for getting new eyes as well as getting new creatives.
Henry Cavill and Superman Red Son.
I mean, I'd be all for it.
I mean, how cool would that be?
That's the only way you can do Red Son is if you do it as an Elseworlds label.
Yeah, you do it as an Elseworlds movie, and you hire Henry Cavill to be the Superman from Russia.
I'd be all for it.
Matt G in the chat just said something interesting. He also said for those actors like a Joaquin Phoenix who don't want to sign on to a 10-picture deal, you're going to be able to get some really high caliber actors that you would never have imagined doing a superhero movie because they're like, oh, one and done. I'll sign on for that. One and done and maybe a second one, but I'm not contractually obligated. Yeah, let's try that.
And that opens up a talent pool that you wouldn't necessarily have if you have to think about your shared universe. If you want to do a story about an older iteration of a character that people aren't necessarily going to go see, or you want to do Animal Man as a lower budget film that could be part of Elseworlds or something that might not fit in, it opens up the rest of the DC pantheon to be viable in terms of making films.
All right, guys, question is for you. We've got official release date finally for the Batman in the last part of 2025, about 2.5 years from now. Looking forward to it. But we also now have the heads of DC saying we have got an official label now, DC Elseworlds, where we can tell some of these outside of the continuity stories. I think this is fantastic. I've been begging for the studios to do this for years. What do you guys think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save money this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton, with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Guys, I have told you before that when I was on one of the major phone carriers, I was spending literally 3 times as much every month and switching to Mint Mobile couldn't have been easier. So for people just looking to save some extra money this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in just minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.